this is not your friend, and it's not going to be your friend for many, many years. And so I always say, instead of approaching this as though you're divorcing a friend, you need to do it as though this is a business dispute where a business is being split and each of you are going your ways. You need to ask for everything that you feel entitled to.
Tyrese Gibson is back in the headlines, but this time it's for something much bigger, being temporarily detained for unpaid child support. Now, according to a female attorney Symone from the channel Girl, Is That Legal?, Tyrese makes $275K a month, and his ex-wife deserves at least 10% of that for their child.
Tyrese told the court that he earns $270,000 per month, but that he feels that he should only have to pay $3,500 a month for child support, even though for the older child that he's not on child support for, he gifted her in the 9th grade with a Phantom Rolls Royce. Or with a Rolls Royce. I could have the model incorrect. Anyway, this man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He has been arrested. He's going to have to pay the $73,000 it is now to get his behind out, or put up a bond, because he says he's appealing the verdict. He feels that she should only have to pay $3,500 a month, which is about 1% of his monthly income. And from that, his ex-wife is supposed to, pay for half of daycare, private school, all of the above, including medical expenses. And this is what he thinks is reasonable.
Attorney Symone and her viewers are claiming that $10K a month isn't enough for Tyrese's child. But here's what they aren't mentioning. Tyrese's ex-wife signed a prenup, agreed to the terms, divorced him, and is now using their child as a bargaining chip. Check out what this woman had to say.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we many.
For the last 4 years, okay, so these people, they married her. The ex-wife is Samantha Gibson. They married Valentine's Day of 2017, had their child a year later. I guess during COVID, she was about sick of his behind and filed for divorce September 2020. Okay. This divorce was messy and it took like 2 years to drain out. Do you know, from the date she filed for divorce until currently, this man was only paying $2,236 a month. $2,236 a month. That didn't even include daycare. Daycare was an additional $1,274 a month. And part of his argument is he thinks this is too much money for a 5-year-old, that the baby should get less. Shut up. Oh, sorry. Then drop my little gavel holster. Un momento.
You see what she just did there? This attorney, I'm calling her a clown at this point, has already dismissed any sense of justice. Dropped the gavel because she's not worthy of holding on to it. She's clearly not looking for fairness, and here's why. She casually mentions that during COVID, Samantha Lee got sick of Tyrese, was done with him, and left. But why do we always assume it's the man's fault when a woman leaves? She left. She took their child with her, and we're supposed to accept her side without any deeper questions? Let's listen to Samantha herself.
And my whole goal of that Harley initiated interview was completely taking accountability for my part and how I would have done things differently. And I'm going to go over what those things were. First thing I said was that at the time of certain things, when I filed, I filed in the heat of a moment. I was very, very hurt. I was very, very angry. I never said I regretted my whole decision. What I did say was I regretted doing it in a moment where I was emotionally intoxicated. If I could take that back, I would.
You don't win when a family is broken apart. I think Jay-Z said this. He's like,
nobody wins when the family feuds.
Yeah.
When you get lawyers involved, and there was a therapist that was speaking to both me and him, a marital therapist at the time, that when I told him my decision, he was like, when you get lawyers involved, it gets ugly. He told me that. And, I didn't even realize, I don't think I even realized how ugly it would get, And like I said, if I could walk back in time, sometimes I battle with myself about that. But at that time, I thought I was doing the right thing or the best thing. I didn't know how ugly it could get.
There it is. Samantha Lee, fully aware that she didn't handle things the right way, took their child and made things ugly on purpose. She didn't even try to work things out. She left and hired lawyers immediately. She weaponized her child and made sure the court system would work in her favor. Now, if Tyrese had filed for divorce and kept their child, guess what? The court still would have favored Samantha. The system isn't set up for fairness. It's set up to take advantage of men. Think about this. $2,200 per month for child support for a 1-year-old plus $1,100 for daycare. What else does the child need? Golden diapers? Samantha herself makes 6 figures. She's not broke. She chose to leave, and now she's demanding money for the child she took away from him. If that doesn't scream selfishness, I don't know what does.
We're going to skip this on down to the juicy parts. Premarital agreement. On February 2nd, the parties entered into a prenup. Okay. The prenup addressed issues of equitable division of property and liabilities, alimony, and attorney's fees. The wife, in her petition for divorce, and the husband, in his counterclaim, both pled for premarital agreement to be adopted and incorporated into any final judgment. So both sides says, yep, we want the court to adhere to the prenup. Division of property, that part was fine. That was agreed to. Here's the catcher.
You see how she just brushes over the premarital agreement? This is critical because that document was signed by both parties before their marriage, outlining exactly what each person was entitled to in case of a split. The premarital agreement is the foundation of this case. It clearly states that Samantha isn't entitled to alimony or a big payout from Tyrese's personal assets, which is why she's resorting to using child support as her new target. This is a clear sign that this isn't about supporting the child. It's about securing the bag. She took their child because she knew that that was her golden ticket. There was no effort to resolve things personally with Tyrese because she knows $20,000 a month for child support is outrageous. But since the premarital agreement blocked her from any direct financial gain, the child became her meal ticket. And by the way, let's not forget, she made sure their child wasn't old enough to express any desire to stay with Tyrese. She made sure the child couldn't talk and say, I want to stay with daddy. This was calculated. This is what no one wants to address. This is the part that women don't want to talk about. How women manipulate the system and play the victim to trap men financially. Now here's where Tyrese made a big mistake.
It says in a footnote, this includes the wife's claim for lump sum child support from the time that she filed her petition through child. And here's what's really stupid. Footnote 2. It says, although the prenup addresses issues of alimony or spousal support and attorney's fees and expenses of litigation, the terms of the prenup still require the court's involvement, because this dunce of a lawyer added a provision that says basically there's a prenup unless the court decides the prenup is unfair. Boy, what? That was a huge mistake. Because if it's a prenup, unless the court decides if it's reasonable, then don't you think your wife is going to ask the court to decide if it's reasonable? Because that's what she did here, stupid.
This is where women pull out every excuse in the book to get as much money as they can. I signed under duress. He was abusive. I need to maintain my lifestyle. They will claim anything because they know the system is built to cater to these emotional pleas. And here is Attorney Symone repeating the same tired talking point. Check this out.
Had not been disclosed. So, and then it says, yet husband presented no evidence wife earned income beyond her W-2 income and self-employment income disclosed on her form. Instead, husband simply argued the inference that wife must have been earning more money due to her spending habits, which exceeded her deposits in certain months. Well, listen, stupid. If she was used to being married to you in a joint household, she and her child probably had certain regular expenses. Perhaps it was a nanny. Perhaps it was daycare, other things that you're not paying for. Again, at this time, like prior to the divorce decree, he was only giving $22.36 a month. The child's daycare was $12.74 per month. Mom had to use that $22.36 to pay rent, furnish it, nanny, food, all of the above. All right, let's move on down.
Now we're hearing that Samantha had to pay rent. What happened to being strong and independent? Where's all that talk about not needing a man? Samantha makes over 6 figures herself. So why does she need an extra $10K a month for child support? It's not about the child. It's about maintaining a lifestyle she's no longer entitled to. And here is where the hypocrisy gets worse. When the shoe is on the other foot, like when Mary J. Blige had to pay her ex-husband alimony, all of a sudden, it's not fair. Check this out.
Let me just speak. It's so whack right now that men, can come at you and get and get alimony. So when I was getting a divorce, I was like, you mean to tell me I got to pay him? And he cheated and he lied and he stole and, not to get all petty, but you know what I'm saying? You mean I got to pay him for cheating and lying to me and ruining my life?
See that? When a man has to pay, everyone is clapping. But when the woman has to cough up money, it's suddenly a problem. It's not about equality, it's about control. These women claim to want equality, but when it comes to financial responsibility, they conveniently forget all about that. Now let's dive deeper.
Says in accordance with the child support guidelines, the basic support obligation does not exceed $22.36 when parents earn a combined monthly income of $30,000 or higher. That means that's the base that they use, and then they can add to it. The court, however, has the discretion to impose an upward deviation to attain an appropriate amount of support for high-income parents, which is consistent with the best interest of the child, meaning do what's best for your kid. Okay. Inherent is the court's ability to consider an upward deviation to child support based on high income to achieve the state policy of affording children of unmarried parents, to the extent possible, the same economic standard of living enjoyed by intact families consisting of parents with similar financial means. Basically, because you're growing up in a single parent home, you should not have less resources than if your parents stayed married to the narcissist daddy that you got who's crazy, as an example. Okay.
So Tyrese is the narcissist, but not Samantha? How does that make sense? She is the one who broke up the family and immediately went to court. There was no conversation, no mediation, just straight to the lawyers. Who's the real narcissist here? Samantha Lee made a selfish choice, and now Tyrese is paying the price. And let me remind you, many women are single mothers by choice. They make these decisions knowing the system will back them. Attorney Symone even admitted that this is all just a business. Let's take a look.
This is not your friend, and it's not going to be your friend for many, many years. And so I always say, instead of approaching this as though you're divorcing a friend, you need to do it as though this is a business dispute where a business is being split and each of you are going your ways. You need to ask for everything that you feel entitled to.
For women, this is business, plain and simple. We've covered this before on this channel. From books like The Manipulated Man to Men on Strike, this has been proven time and time again. Female nature is to secure resources. And if that means using the court system to extract money from men, they will do it. This is why you should wake up and don't get married. Protect yourself at all times. This isn't just about Tyrese. It's about a broken system that's rigged against men. If you don't protect yourself, the court system will eat you alive. And as we've seen with this female attorney and her live stream, the goal isn't justice, it's money. Stay tuned for more as we dive deeper into the callers and their reactions.
Man, that's where we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.